It's not a picture, it's actually me. Starting in just a bit. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another stream. How are you doing? Assalamu alaikum to everyone who's watching this. I can see Adil Yusufzai. Hello, 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 hello. क्या कर रहे हैं आप रात के इस पहर? What are you doing? Oh, I need to close this. Anybody here? I think it's just you and nothing, no one else. Everybody's sleeping right now. No, we have Fareed Chifedi. Lara will develop path basic understanding of PHP. You can open roadmap.sh and then you can check it out there, to be honest. Walaikum assalam, job time. Let's pull the chair together. Job time. Job time है bro. ये कौन सा time है job का? It's 2 a.m. Are you in the US? या कहाँ पे? कहाँ पे हैं आप? जनाब, कहाँ पर हैं आप? Alright. How about we go like this today? No, how about we go like this today? Let's move the chat box. Where's my chat box? Chat highlight. Is that the one? No. Can I click this? Chat. There we go. साथ समी वालेकुम अस्सलाम कह रहे हैं EST टाइम फॉलो कर रहा पाकिस्तान में ओए होए ओए होए 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 आई रिमेंबर माय डेज आई कंप्लीटली फील यू ब्रदर आई फील यू थोड़ा सा ही जो गैप आ रहा है ये अच्छा नहीं लग रहा फॉर सम रीजन बट ओके लेट्स कीप इट लाइक दैट फॉर नाउ ओके साथ समी भी कुछ कर रहे हैं दैट्स नाइस तो लेट्स ओपन द ऐप और हम वहाँ से स्टार्ट करते हैं I have a genuine question. How to determine which domain you should work at after getting into software engineering? वैसे आमतौर पे यहाँ पे जितने लोग आते हैं सबके genuine question होते हैं but okay. Usman Ali, I think if you don't know then you have to just keep trying. Try करो देखो कि यार कौन सी ऐसी चीज़ है जो ज़्यादा मेक सेंस करती है कौन सी ऐसी चीज़ है जिसमें आपका ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है तो आई वुड सजेस्ट जस्ट लुकिंग एट दोज सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग्स और yeah, just try to find out. If you don't know then you have to try things and once you are trying things जब आप ट्राई कर लोगे और आपको आइडिया हो जाएगा अच्छा यार ये चीज़ मैंने ट्राई की नहीं मुझे इतनी ज़्यादा पसंद नहीं आई तो मे बी आई विल ट्राई समथिंग एल्स तो आई थिंक दैट्स प्रीटी मच द वे टू गो so you have the luxury to try those things Okay, I hope that makes sense. So what are we doing today? We are actually continuing our front-end application that we built JHSS at web.com. And if you don't know what this is an application that I'm building for a friend as a gift, as a departing gift, because tomorrow is going to be my last day at the company that I'm working at, and I'm switching jobs. So I wanted to give this gift, or this as a gift per se. And we have a colleague who says some things interesting, some interesting things in the work office, and then we have another colleague who can hear those because she's sitting right next to her, and then she can listen to those and then takes notes. So what we're doing is we are basically copying her sayings and then just putting these here. For this, we have used Angular, we have used Firebase, and we have used some existing HTML templates that we used. For example, here you can see that we had another application called fflashback.com. So I copied some code from here. Actually, copy paste is something that I'm very good at. I'm a professional copy paster, and that's what I did. I copied the code from here, created a new site, and made it sort of similar to this. Saira Riyaz, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're good. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Hope you're good as well. So now what I want to do is a couple of things. If you have a look at the top here, can I say highlight? Mouse highlight. So if you have a look at the top here, on the very top, you will notice that there is an Angular logo. So we need to change that. Then we also need to change the title of the application. Then we also would add a picture here of the person that I'm building this for, and it's going to be super fun. So let's start doing this. So first of all, I want to create a fav icon. So fav icon creator, the first fav icon generator, favicon.io. Okay, so we generate via a PNG. Drag and drop your file here and click to upload. How are you doing, Saira, yourself? Are you good? So we reveal this in file folder, and I have my file here. I just copied it, and there we go. So if I download this, after converting, we get a bunch of things from favicon.io, and all of these are files that we can now copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this into assets. So I'm going to copy this into, if I copy all of this, I can go ahead and you can see the installation here as well, like all of this installation. So I'm going to go and I'm going to paste them into source assets. And here I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it, let's call it meta. And inside I'm pasting all of these files. So you can see that we got this fav icon right here, right? I'm thinking if I should make this in a circular frame. Maybe not, let's not do it. So the fav icon is here. Now what I want to do is I want to use this fav icon in my HTML. So here, instead of this Angular logo, I'm going to start showing the fav icon. So how do you do that? You basically go to your HTML or your index HTML, and here by default you would notice that there is this favicon.ico, and this is essentially the file which is here. There should be a file. This is the favicon.ico. So if I open this, you can see that this is Angular. We don't want this fav icon, so we rather want this assets, images, and then there's not images, but this should be a meta folder as well. If I refresh, we got assets, meta, and then we got this favicon.ico, like this one, and this is what we want. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace this all with the code that I copied from favicon.ico. Now notice that here the path that we are giving to all these files, it's directly from the root, but we don't want it from the root. We want it from the assets meta. So we are going to say assets slash meta slash for all of these assets slash meta, assets slash meta, and save. Now if I go back to my browser here and refresh, this should have fixed it, but let's see if I can confirm this. So if I go to network, refresh, refresh, I should have a fav icon. Let's see if I can also, oh, this is the live website. We do want to run the local version of it. So let's run the local version, npm run start. This should actually start the live server or the local server, and then we should be able to see the app. All right, let's see. So we're going to open another URL here, and that's going to be localhost 4200. And this would start running once we have our setup done. So just to confirm, we have added a couple of things, but we would also want to change this site manifest as well and set it to meta. And now here you can see that here we have this changed. We have the fav icon changed, and it picks up the new one, the nice one. And that's what we wanted, right? Now that we have this, let's also take, let me think. Let's also have a look at the site manifest JSON, and that should be in assets, meta, and then we have, I'm not sure if we should be using this slash, to be honest. Maybe not. So it should be like this. So if I do this, do we still get it? Yes, we do. And if I go ahead and open this, it doesn't open it. That's fine as well. If I open the site manifest, then it uses this. Let's actually configure it. So this should be something like assets meta, and this manifest is what is used when you open this application into a mobile phone, or if you install it as a PWA, then it is used just like that. So I'm gonna do assets meta Android Chrome, assets meta blah blah blah, and I think we are good now. Now that we have this, I do want to also add the image of the person when you refresh the page. So instead of loading, how about we show a circular loader of the person themselves? That would be super cool, right? So instead of this loading screen, we are going to use the image and we are going to spin it around. Let's do that. So I'm going to go to my components. So I'm going to go to app components, or actually pages, saying, and in the saying we have this this loading. So instead of this loading, let's use an image. We're going to give this a source. We're going to say images, or it's called assets images josephine.png. And if I do this, refresh, there you go. You see the image. We're going to make it smaller. So let's do it like this. So we are going to reverse, and we are also going to give this a width and height. So width maybe 100 and height 100 as well. And then what we can do is, let's see. So we got that done. Now we can reverse the ngIf statement, and we can put a not here so we can see this image all the time. If I'm correct, code does not exist on type true. What? If I save this now, it works. Yeah, it works. So then it should be saying as active. Oh, okay. That's going to be interesting. So let's do it this way. We would convert this whole thing out of the loading, and we see it all the time. Noman Yasin, hey, how's it going, Noman? So there's the image. Let's quickly style it. So actually, we are going to give this some classes. So class, we're going to say width 40, which is about 160 pixel. We don't want add as much, so 32 pixel. 32 pixel is 128. 28 is 112. Lucky, hey, hello, hello. 24 is 96. Let's go with class width 24, height 24, rounded full. So if I do this, you will see that this would turn into a round image, as you can see. And now I don't know if there is a spin class. I don't, although we do have animated spin. There we go. So there you go. So we have a we have a spin class. We can now use it instead of the loading. So if I go here and save and refresh, you can see that we are loading and then we see the data, right? So in that case, I think we're good. We would also want to center this. So we can say something like width full, but also then flex and justify center. So this loader becomes in the center. There we go. Right? And I think that's good. What else do we want to do? I think this is good. Any other ideas that we should be implementing? So we got the logo. We should also go ahead and change the index.html and the meta. So the meta here says GSS. So we can say something like Josephine says. And I think that should be it. I don't think we're really missing something. And we can also add sort of a party logo here. Ta-da! I think we're done. Yeah, I think this is probably enough. So it was really quick, really small implementation that we needed to do, and I think we are good. One thing that I do want to do is I do want them to be able to add a new quotation. So I have completed my HTML and CSS. I'm trying to become a blockchain developer. Now, which language will I cover? If you're trying to go for blockchain developer, then you should know Solidity. You should also know some front end. But yes, Solidity would be it. I don't know if roadmap.sh has something for you. Blockchain, oh, there is a step-by-step guide here. So go follow this guide. There you go. So there are a lot of things that you could learn from here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is super cool work by Kamran. Love it. Super fast. Not too fancy, no magic there. Easy peasy and really nice. Love it. Hmm. Anyways, so I think you got the idea. No problem at all. All right, so I think the final thing that I want to do is to be able to add this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look into let me think. I do want only one person to be able to or add stuff to this, and I want to make it really simple, right? So what I want to do is to be able to add a new code. And that's pretty much it. So I could go ahead and see how to do that. So I'm going to open also Flashback because it had a component that I can copy paste now. So I believe there was a memory app, welcome, and then components, and then game model. I think I can copy this one, the game model. So let's go and go to components, game model. It could go inside components. Yeah. And then it works with a couple of things: CDK clipboard, user service, user take while. It does quite a lot of the things. We don't really want all of them. So first of all, let's add this to here. We're not going to call this game model. We're going to rename this to add saying.component. So we can say something, or we could also have created like a new page. It would keep things simple, but let's see. So we are going to keep it very simple. We do something like ngGC components add saying, and then it would also add this to app module automatically. So you will see the files creating, and you will also see that this updates the app module here. So you can see add saying component has already been added here. Now what I want to do is I want to copy the game model stuff to add saying. So I'm going to copy the HTML. Then I'm gonna copy the CSS. There's no CSS, but that's very good. And then I have to copy the TypeScript. So let me close this and show you what I mean. So in here, we have the add saying. So let's keep it open. Now in here, I can quickly copy everything that is inside here. So all of this, I'm going to copy inside here. Then we have some imports that we could use. For example, this and this. So I'm going to copy this and replace this here. And then I can remove the extra code altogether. So here to here. So now this is my component, which is called add saying component. We are not using, oh, we should be using on destroy. And there we go. Block, 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 reload. There you go. Okay, so we got on destroy. We can put it right here. And now let's remove the things that we don't need. We don't want a game URL, no user. Call in progress, maybe yes. Close modal, yes. Create new game, no. Join game, no. Is component live, yes. All of these, no. All of this, no. Update username, not really. ng on destroy, yes. Get game ID, no. Copy game ID, no. So all of this, we don't really need that. Now let's have a look at the HTML itself. So in here, we do have the game URL view and blah, blah, blah. We have a couple of things here, but we don't really want all of that. So share game ID with your friends. We don't want this as well. So I'm removing a couple of things from the view, and I'm only going to keep the things that I really want in the end. So everything from here, we're going to implement what do you call it? Some inputs from scratch, but I'm going to remove the rest of the stuff that we don't really want. Okay. So let's say we have join game and update. We're going to copy this form, take it outside, copy this button, take it outside, actually here, and then just remove this stuff, right? Form submit join existing game. We can create just a function that says add new saying, and let's call this function. So we can say add new saying, not passing anything at all. So this is just a random HTML that we have. So I'm going to save this. I don't believe we should have any error here, but if we do, we're going to look at that, what's happening. Click create game.image. Yeah, we don't need that. So now that we have this, I'm going to remove game modal, and I'm going to use this add saying component that we just created in our saying component. So here I could say something like app add saying. And if I go back to my app now, you should be able to see it or not. Let's see if we have app saying. So there is add saying, and it has ng reflect false. Ah, interesting. Let's see. So the add saying itself should have ng if show modal. Yes. Okay. So we would have to implement something that triggers this show modal. So let's do that. Bro, you're working on main directly. You will crash the production. No, unless I push it. I have not committed or pushed anything, so we're fine. Don't worry about it. So I will create a branch before we go, or we could create a branch. That's also fine. So we do have a show modal, and we could say show new saying modal. This property doesn't exist yet, so we are going to create this. We're going to say show modal is equals false. We can also say something like add new saying. So we can say add new saying. And here we can say this dot equals to true. Okay. So when we add this here, we can create a button. Just like we have this refresh, we could add a button to add a new quote. And the only way to do that is to be able to log in and then add something. So what I will do is in this one, then the page is saying we do have this fs minus. Let's make it fs plus. So it shows here like the plus one. But when you click this, or when you click this, it will call add new saying, and that should turn on the modal. So if I click this plus now, let's see what happens. Boom, there you go. You can see the modal here, and that's what we wanted. So now what I want to do is I want to go, and before we do this, we are going to ask for passwords, but not really. So for example, if I go ahead, I would have to change this title. So the title here is, let's see, create or join game. So here we could say add a new saying, Josephine code. So here if I click plus, add a new code by Josephine, and this should rather be inside the add saying component, should have either, or rather than an input, it should have a text area, right? And it should not be self-closing. It should be like this. So if I hit plus, this is how it should look like, right? And here we could have ID saying. This is a URL input. I don't know what that really means. Let's see. Yeah, I think it looks good. I can remove this join game, and I can only say something like create or submit. So now if I click plus, you can see there's a submit button down there. Although this button looks weird, so I'm gonna actually copy this one. or all the classes from here, and then do this, right? And then remove this guy from here so it looks something better like this. So we have create a new game. This is interesting. If I mouse over, I don't see anything. Why do I not see anything? And what is inside here anyways? When I click it brings me here. Why does it bring me here? Do we have a text center or something? I don't know. Let's see. So the text area has an ID of saying we have a placeholder game ID here, class blah 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 blah. And then we got this text. Yeah, I don't know. Text center is just the one that is at the top. But why does this have this space? Focus ring. Let me see the classes. So we got focus ring, indigo, focus ring, ring pink, h full. So height is full. Py and pl is this. P border transparent, text gray, sm text rounded, shadow sm. I don't see why this would be a problem, but there is a problem. So if I clear this, refresh now, click this, click here, there is a value set already, as you can see. Like, where is this value coming from? And now we have the placeholder, you can see. So that's super weird. Do we have a value in here? No, we don't. All right, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe this is because we are, I don't know. We'll see. In any case, let's use a form here. So we can say something like new saying. And then here on submit, we can submit add new saying, and we can pass the value from the new saying. So we can say something like new saying dot value, and here we can say saying text and console dot log new saying text, and this is going to be of type string. So now if I save this and if I put something in there, if I hit plus, this and put this here, and if I hit this, okay, we also have this issue with form. So this form should have an event.prevent default as well. So we can say event as a second parameter, add new saying should also retrieve an event, and we should have here event.stop immediate propagation, event.prevent default, and then here it should then log it so it doesn't refresh the page. Right now it refreshed the page. We don't want that. So I'm gonna play this, and then we can say this, something like this, and then we say create a new game, and here you can see the value. Now by default the value of this should also be like empty. That's what I would want. So if I click this, I'm baffled on why does it get a new value without having anything inside. I have absolutely no clue. This is the first time that I'm seeing something like this. And what would happen if I used an input here? For input it works fine. For a text area it doesn't. Maybe I am missing something. There you go. So we now have this. It looks good. Bro, थोड़ा सा selection shortcut बता दो साथ VS Code के, like delete lines, select specific lines. I think the only ones that I know, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा VS Code के तो shortcuts use नहीं करता, but you can do it via alter. So alt, and then you can select multiple lines, for example here, alter or click, and then I can select multiple something like this, and I can then remove all of them at once. एक ये चीज़ है जो मैं यूज़ करता हूँ. Secondly, if you have some text here and you do shift and alter down, then you can duplicate it, as you can see. और एक और चीज़ जो मैं आमतौर पे यूज़ करता हूँ वो मूविंग है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ़ आई वांट टू मूव दिस लाइन डाउनवर्ड्स, तो मैं इसको ऑल्ट डाउन से मूव कर सकता हूँ, एज यू कैन सी, या ऑल्ट अप से. आई थिंक दोज आर द वंस दैट आई यूजुअली यूज़. चलो वापस ले जाओ. मे बी दीज वुड हेल्प यू. Alright, तो ये यहाँ पे आ गया, and I think now all we need is this button. So let's also give this like uh some classes. Actually this button sm, this reminds me कि मेरे ख्याल से मेरे पास जो दूसरी the other app I have, we should have a button class here. I think that I'm not using, yeah, elements.scss, there you go. So I need to put this into styles.scss. That's why it wasn't reflecting. So if I go now, you should be able to see if I hit plus. There you go. So these are the buttons that we wanted. There you go. Da da da. And then if I create instead of create a new game, we can now say submit. And there you go. And then all you need to do is just all right, also let me do one more thing. When we close this, or when we click close, this should actually close the trigger or close the modal. So we need to add the functionality there. So right now we do have an output called close modal, and this should be triggered when we click this, and this is already being emitted, but our parent component should be listening to it, which means that the page component where we are using this modal, we should look into it. And then when this comes in, all we do is we say show new saying modal equal false. And that would mean that if I now go to my browser, refresh, and plus, and if I click close, you can see that it goes away. So now this works fine. Now what I would also want to do is when I submit and everything works, then it should also show me, or it should also close. Now it just logs it, but it should also close. So a couple of things that I want to do. One, I want this button to be disabled. Text here is also working now. Yes, exactly. So I want to make this button disabled when we don't have the correct value of it, or the input doesn't have a value. So if I go back here, we have this variable that we are using for new saying. So we can simply say disabled, either call in progress, or we have no value in no saying. So if new saying input doesn't have any value, then also make it disabled. So if I check this now, click it here and click here, you can see that nothing happens, but it still looks like that it is clickable. So I want to change that, or the CSS, I want to change it. So I can go ahead and do this here. So I can say something like, I think it's called is disabled. No, it's called disabled. And then we can say BG slate and then 600. So when it's disabled, the background would be changed. So you can see that the background is changed now, but I want it to be a bit lighter. So maybe a 200. So here now it's 200, as you can see. I could also do a BG. I could say a disabled opacity 40. So it looks like grayed out as well. Now you can see that. And then the mouse, as you can see, converts to a cursor. So we don't want cursor there. We would say when this is disabled, the cursor the cursor would be not allowed. So in here, if I click this, you can see that now it says not allowed. So just little UX thingies. And if I type something, then you can see that it updates it. If I remove this and click this, it goes there. Now that's funny because it updates it in a while. It doesn't automatically update it. So how about we use ng model to reflect those changes directly? So let's go ahead and import a forms module. We're keeping this very simple. So we import forms module. We go ahead and use ng model. And let's say new saying is empty. Then what we do is we bind this new saying to our text area. So we use something like ng model and we say new saying. And then instead of this new saying variable that we have here, this new saying template variable, we are now using ng model. So we can remove the tot value from both of those. And I think this should be good now. Let's see if this works. Oh, it says what? It says new saying does not exist on type add saying component. Oh, because we have not saved this. So let's save this. And now it should be good. So if I play here, you can see that if ng model is used within form tag, either the name attribute must be set or the form control must be defined. So in that case, we should go ahead and in our HTML, we should give it a name and we should call it new saying text. Now, if I open this, you can see that this is disabled. And as soon as I start typing, it immediately reflects the changes, right? And this is what we want. For this text area, I think we can increase the width. So maybe we could say that this is a width 100%, right? So we could say that this is a width full, but the px is going to be 4. So if I open this now, oh, the form itself is not even width. Wait a second. All right. So we got to come from the top in that case. So we have this flex item center px4. This one, this element should be 100% width. So we say width full. And let's see how this looks like now. So if I go here, you can see that this is now width full, but the form is not. And then inside the form, we have this text area. So we need to have this width full on every of those elements. So for the form, we add width full. Not accessible is not the best way to mark a button disabled. Just my opinion, Jarvis. What would you have rather in that case? And then we should also have this. So we do this. Then we add this, and you can see that this is now spanning to the entire form. So now that we have this, we can add something. Normal cursor and button grade. I'm trying to understand if a button is not really clickable, even if you gray it, I shouldn't it say not allowed? I don't understand why would we not have. Then when would you use this cursor? Never. Or in some other use case. When would you use it then? So we click it, we add something, we click submit, it should log it, but then also it should close. Sorry, it should then do a couple of things. So once we add a new saying, there will be a call in progress. So we can say something like this dot call in progress equals to true, and I'm just simulating this, and then set timeout of, let's say, a 1500 millisecond, and again this is just for testing. And then we have this dot call in progress equals to false, just to simulate how it would work in a real world situation. So I click this, I go ahead, I hit submit, you see these dot dot dot, and then we have the submit again. So instead of having these dots, I would want to have the same image that we talked about. So let's do it that way. So we could have either a span that says submit, and that would be when. How long have you been learning programming? How long have you been learning programming? I've been coding for almost 10 years, and I've been in the university before that. So I think when I got into university, I started programming, and that would be in 2013. No, in 2010. So about 12 years. So ng if call in progress, else loading, and then we add the loading here, ng template, oops, template, and then we add the image that we talked about. So we're going to go to saying component and copy this guy, but then we are going to make the image very small. So let's make it like I don't know, 10 pixel, 40 pixel, 6 with 6 is 24 pixel. I think, yeah, I'm gonna go with 6 and 6, I think. And I don't really need this image, to be honest, so maybe I would just use this image in that case, and I would give the ID loading. I'm from Vietnam and I admire you so much. Thank you so much. I admire you as well. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Son? Don't take it serious. Don't take what serious? It has not any pro or cons from the UX experience accessibility. Yeah, it doesn't really change anything. I would like to tell the user that they cannot click on this if they cannot. If you understand what I mean. Ooh, this looks so shiny. I love it. But then, oh, this is interesting because then the loader itself, you can see it it doesn't shine out. So maybe instead of the button itself, we could use the loader. How would that be? So if I go ahead here, you can see you can see the loader. Okay. I'm gonna put this in a div. So I can say something like my4 and then this. So if I open this now, ooh, super cool. Can we add this animation on submit? Just wondering. Did you mean the same animation that I just added now? Animation like this on submit. Oh, we could do it. When you submit it, you could, do you mean confetti? Like the party popper? We could do that if you want. So just checking in. So if there's a call in progress, or if there's not a call in progress, then we show the button, otherwise we don't. So in this case, you can see the submit button. If I click this, if I hit submit, you see the loading, and then the submit button goes away. Just a challenge, no problem at all. I think there's something called ngx confetti that we can use. 3 years ago. And do they have any sort of documentation or not? Angular confetti code sandbox. Let's see if I can find it. What you do looks great. Thank you. Party popper. Yeah, thank you. Canvas confetti. I think this is the one that I want to use, but I do want to see. Yeah, let's use it. I think it would work with Angular anyways. Woo, look at that. Super cool. What are they using exactly? Do they have a package? We have ng particles, ts particles, shape confetti. Okay. Let's see if I can find it. ts particles, shape confetti. Google is already giving this to me. This package has been deprecated. Why? Uh, version 1.3.0. Okay. Maybe we can look into ts particles. ts particles. Would I have to refresh? Ah, okay. How to create beautiful confetti, blah blah blah. ts particles. You add particles, then you do shape confetti, then you load full screen enable particle number, color, shape, blah blah blah. It seems like a lot of work, but the end result is then this one. Okay. Hmm. So how many or actually let me see. Particle JS. Confetti. Mm-hmm. Explosions. I like this one. Toggle code. Then I don't have to actually do anything. I can just load that and that could start working. But then how do I get started? So there should be shapes, bottom. Can you make a 3D animation with CSS? I I don't think I have tried it, to be honest. I don't think I've tried it yet. The 3D CSS. I mean, I have actually. In one of the projects that I have in Angular, for the Angular cookbook, um, for this nice little piece of knowledge, for this one, I created a an application that had some 3D. I don't know if I have that actually. G book packed. No. So essentially, I have implemented it in one of the ones. Let's see if I can find it really quick. Packed. Do we have packed here? Yeah. Do we have packed? Yes. Cookbook. What? Why do we have chapter 1 and 2 only? E. Okay. Work. Personal. I don't see it. So maybe I can clone it. I'm gonna quickly see. But okay, let's see first the confetti and then we are going to look at the 3D animation. This readme refers to version 2, read here version 1, library installation. So we go ahead and we do check Angular. Will you go to Angular or no? It doesn't go anywhere. So let's see if I can find for Angular. So we have ng particles, instructions available here, 10,000 downloads per month. Sounds really good. Maybe we can add this. So let's go to our app, open it, do this. And then was I using yarn or package? Okay. Let's rather do then npm install. I do want to stick to one, or I could get rid of package log JSON then, and I can now run yarn. So I can run yarn add. What languages are you using? I'm using JavaScript, TypeScript, HTML, and CSS. And that's pretty much it. So now, two things that we need to do. One was in the app that we were working with. Where's my app? Oh, there it is. So I mentioned that we are showing this logo and then we are we change it back, but essentially we should also be closing the modal. So we're going to say this dot close modal dot emit, which would actually close the modal itself. What about the library? I'm going to start looking into it just in a bit. So if I say something like this, it's going to load it and then it's going to poof, close the modal, which I actually want. So it should have added the new saying in the database, and we should be able to see it as well. So let's see. So this is installing the confetti package. So while it does that, and my PC has started to make some noises because it's running yarn from the beginning. What do you do? Looks great. Can you make 3D animation? Life challenge is cool. When you try new stuff without wanting to read the documentation. Exactly. Ahsan not coming slow. Yes. All right, let's see. Remind me to drink water. I think I've been live for about an hour without having to drink water, so I definitely need some water. All right. So I do want to do one thing. So our library is being installed. While it happens, I can go ahead and quickly try to find the Angular cookbook as well. So let's see if I can go to GitHub, packed, Angular cookbook. Camera off. Thank you for reminding me that, Jarvis. I actually have my battery drained, or not my battery, but my camera's battery. Let's put it back. Let's replace the battery, and this should be in a few seconds. So I'm gonna clone this in my projects, or here, let's go to CD, desktop, packed, RM, RF, NG cookbook. Welcome back. Thank you. हमको लगा लाइट चली गई. Yes. I hope that never happens, but I think एक दफ़ा मैंने देखा था कि लाइट यहाँ पे शायद गई थी, और वो भी शायद सामने किसी शॉप में. Can you do it on the back end? What do you mean, can I do it on the back end? Which part? Now that we have the package installed, let's rerun our server. So we are going to rerun the server, and then we are going to work with confetti. And then we are also going to look at the 3D CSS. I would say it's still, I don't know if it's 2D or it's actually 3D because it uses perspective. Are you using Tailwind? Yes, I am. Yes, sir, I am. This is taking an awful lot of time, which makes me think if it actually contained the code, which would have been sad because I just removed all of the code only to download it again. So let's see. Deleted. CD desktop packed git clone Angular cookbook. Then we do a code of the Angular cookbook. You can see how much code that is, 11.7 MB, because it's a lot of projects. So we get in the Angular cookbook, but in a bit. I'm just going to go ahead and install the let me see. Let me try to read my own book to see which chapter contained routing. And this is really handy because I always go to buy a book whenever I have to see one of the topics that I want to work with, either unit testing, end-to-end testing, or whatnot. So it's chapter 7. It's chapter 7, understanding animation and or navigation at routing. So that means we go to chapter 7, go to final, And then there should be a, oh, it's not the one that I want. I want the one with animation. Sorry, my bad. So the animation should be, is it chapter 4? Yay, it's chapter 4, and I have my notes there for the second edition of the book. So we go to chapter 4 instead. Chapter 4, final, and then we have this route animation or complex route animation. We're gonna go there, and we are going to install or run yarn or npm install cd chapter 4 final complex and then npm I. So let's run this, and in the meantime, let's see, let's implement the confetti. So we're doing a lot of things in parallel. So we installed the package, right? We would have to go into adding these ng particles, particles URL, particles init, particles loaded. So I think this is the one that we are going for. So we go to our code, and you see my face. So I gotta fix this. So I would go to the page, and I could go ahead and create this. Actually, look at this. So we're gonna go ahead and show the confetti only. Well, let's do it on the page first so we understand what's happening. So we got the ID, blah, blah, blah. And then we got also the component. So we got ID TS particles. We got to add that in here. Then we got particles URL. Starting from, you can use the remote to or the particle options. So this is the particle options that we would want. And then this. So I'm going to go ahead and create those here. And we are also going to import at the top these two things. So now it should actually all be good. And the engine should also be from TS particle engine. Have I missed anything from TS particles? Have we not installed TS particles? I think we should have installed TS particles. But if we have not, this is going to start breaking. Of course it would. So yarn add TS particles. Where are you from? I'm originally from Pakistan. And I'm also looking into questions now. In Vietnam, almost everyone learns about HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. That's good. Do you ever integrate Tailwind with the Angular material theme? No, I don't. I don't think that's a good idea. Or I haven't had a requirement to do so yet, to be honest. So I don't know. About auxiliary routes and when should we use that, Muhammad Amir. I don't know about auxiliary routes. Let me see if I can find one. Auxiliary routes, Angular. What are those? Are we talking about the dynamic routes or what? Angular supports concept of auxiliary sending multiple independent routes in a single app. Auxiliary routes allow user to toggle portions of the page or a sidebar or dialog. Ah, okay. So you're talking about this. Yes, I do. When should we use them? You could use auxiliary routes when you have different layouts that you want to show within the app, and they would be dependent on different situations. For example, you could have the same page having a different menu and a different code based on the route parameters. So it is going to be the same Angular component, but it would show different layouts inside here. And the way you do that is you do different sort of router outlets. So as here it shows, by default you have your main apps router outlet. But if you want to show a different content in the sidebar based off of the URL, then you can use another router outlet, and the router outlet is a place in which the components come in when you want to show it by routes. So that's where you would use it. I'm going to share this really nice link from Wrangle.io. I believe they're awesome. And yeah, you should use WebStorm. You should not tell everyone what they should use. No. I tried to use WebStorm, or I used WebStorm, I don't know, years ago. but I'm very fond of VS Code, so I'm probably not going to switch to WebStorm anytime soon. So this is the part that we were missing. We need to import the ngParticles module into our app.js or app module.js. So I'm going to go here and ngParticles module, and then I'm going to go ahead and add this ngParticles module here, which would then fix our saying component, and this would not cry. We got it compiled successfully, and there we go. So if I go back to my app now, ooh, look at that. Woo! Do we really want all of that awesomeness there? Damn. This is not confetti though. All right. Yeah, I just recently got it and it's pretty nice, but VS Code is really good too. No, I know that WebStorm is really good. It has a lot of features, but I do like VS Code a lot. I'm probably not gonna switch from it. I may switch to new Vim or a Vim editor, but we'll see. Do you think JS is difficult or easy? I think everything is difficult when you don't step into it. So as soon as you're just watching it from a distance and like, hey, this is difficult, it's going to be difficult. But when you do it one step at a time, it becomes very easy. Trust me on that one. So I have had experiences where I switched to a new role of looking into backend as well, and I was like 2.5 years into front end as well at that point, and I was doing really good. If you gave me any task on Angular, I would do it like in a matter of a couple of hours, even if it's a really complex component. But I switched to a role where I was also told to look into Java and the Java backend, and it took me 2 to 3 days to only do a very simple task of adding a new API, and that was the first time I was looking into the API. And after a few days, I could do the same task in 1 hour. So the thing that took me 3 days to understand and implement, it took me only 1 hour after I got the good understanding of it. So everything that you do in the beginning is gonna be difficult. Alrighty. So now the problem or the thing is, why do we have this weird shape and not the config? So explosions. Do we want explosions? Do we want sides like this one? Falling? Single? Bottom? Maybe sides? I think the sides is good. So if I go to toggle code, maybe I can do this, right? So this is the configuration, the JSON that we really want. I'm going to copy this. Java sucks. Absolutely. No questions asked, my friend. It sucks. Particle options. Let's copy this huge JSON, paste it, go back to our app only to see an error. Type full scheme, blah, blah, blah. Type string is not a similar number. Oh, what did I miss? Did I make a blunder? Maybe I did. Let's see, what did I miss? So particle options equals full screen, Z index, what not. What I copied from here, is it not exactly the same thing? So we have full screen. It seems like the same thing to me. Why would it fail? Let me see if I can fix, I can find. So it says that the types of particle move direction are incompatible between these. So the move.direction, let's see, move.direction. What is the direction here? So it's top right. Okay. Okay. So it's top move direction, or it's also move direction, bottom left, bottom right. So here it says top right. It should be then top right in that case. Java uses like a confetti effect. Yes. Damn. All right. The types of move direction are incompatible. Didn't I just fix it? Come on, I just fixed it. Oh, there is also one. So we got two, top left and top right. Please work. Please work. Please work. No, it doesn't. So, do we have more of these? Let's see. Move. Oh, we do have like move direction. Couldn't we just use that? So it's like top left. Could we use right up move direction dot top left? And then we also had move dot direction. No, this is the direction. So we do move direction dot top right. Is that all? I think that's all. CodeWithAhsan, have you ever covered Solid.js? Ooh, glad you asked. I'm actually in the process of making a video on it. So hopefully sometime really soon. But that's the problem. You see the top left here corresponds to top left. Would you be interested in a Solid.js tutorial, Vincent? Or do you already know it? Let's see. Amazing. Awesome. Then I think you will love it. So we should now get one error. That's good. Direction, top, random, random, direction, top, right. Please work. Still causes an error on. Wait a second. The string is not available to type. Option particle options. C++ for creating software is show about. Dope programmer is asking, what is it about? We are working on implementing these particles, these confetti particles, to our app, which is based on TS particles. And this should show here on the page, which they are right now. No. So I am going to fix this issue that's happening right now. So let's see. Maybe we would actually go back to the tutorial that the guy posted. I'm not really sure. So let's see. Anyways, so demo website is here. I think this is the one. So confetti should give us the tutorial, the whole top, random, min, direction. Let's go with this. Let's see if this one works. But since we are giving it in a form of an object, I think this should still be working. So particle options, if we replace this with the config object from the documentation itself, keep it really simple, then still it comes up and says to us, hey, you should not have it because the string is not assignable to type number, top, none, move direction, bottom, bottom left, bottom right. But the fun part is that even after we are assigning it, line number 27, it is still gets the error. So in here, the direction itself, it says it's a string. Should I say something like particle options? Right? And then here it now should say bounce, collision, color groups, and 12 more. It's missing the following property. So it should be a partial of this. Shouldn't it solve the issue for us? There we go. There we go. Come on. Why do you not GIF instead of using a heavy library? Really good question. Because we don't want that. We wanted to implement it via the actual sort of implementation. So no GIF. No GIF. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a constants file. I'm going to go ahead and say something like confetti config.ts. I'm going to go ahead and remove it from my pages. So I don't really want that. Oh, we could also use alias. That's true. I think the most important thing was just making sure that these types are correct. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. So export const, and then we got this particle options equals, and we can import this guy real quick. Import from tier particle engine, and we can call this confetti config or confetti particle options. We save this same component, put it back, and we can quickly go ahead and just use this confetti particle options to keep this nice and sweet. Then we can remove this click mode, move direction, all of that from here. We are not using those at all, and this should still be working. I'm going to remove this same component as well. And now let's also see one thing. So the configuration that we saw for this also had another shape, which was explosions, right? So maybe we can go with explosions. What do you think? Or the side or explosions? What do you think? And here I could go ahead and save this and try this out as well. So confetti config, replace this with this. And now if I go back to my app, there you go. You can see the confetti coming in right from the sides. I think this is what we wanted. What language are you using? We are using TypeScript, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Sounds good. Awesome. Vincent, I'm also going to show you the Solid.js app. Just a sneak peek of what we had. But okay, one thing. So we do need to show this, but for the add one, I'm thinking if we should be showing this confetti like every time, or just when we add a new one. What do you think? Maybe all the time makes sense. And now if I go ahead here and click here, hit submit, it shows the loader and then it closes. That's fine. It's crazy how JavaScript is so easy to learn, but I still have problems with it. Deadliness, I think you find, the perception of it being easy is perhaps you're watching me who has been coding for 10 years and who's also coding at 11:36 p.m. at night. So it just takes a lot of time. I think when you give it some time, you're gonna be doing pretty well. I believe we should increase the font size. Love from Pakistan. Thank you so much, Hasnan, Ajmal, Walid, Baharwal as well. I think we should be adding or we should be increasing the size of it. Can we see some size parameter? Min max 2. Maybe we can increase the size in our configuration from a min max perspective. So min speed is 10, rotate, tilt, size. So maybe we can add at least 3 and add a max of 7. Let's see how big that becomes. 10:30. It's 11:37 p.m. It's almost midnight. It's Sweden. Where are you from? So here you can see now they're big. Woo! Look at those. Maybe too big? Too big. No, too big. So let's do 2 to 5 maybe. No, I would probably go to 4 from 1. The great USA. Haha, yes, absolutely. Okay, so we got these colors. We also have, I don't know, I don't want them to be too much. Let's see if that makes it a difference. Now that I look at it, I feel like this one is good. It's not too much, but it's nice anyways. And someone says it should only be on submit. All the time it looks good, Adil says. Okay, so Adil was the one who requested the feature. Let's put it, Adil, there. Awesome. So we're gonna keep it there. And finally, I think the only thing that I would like to finally do is this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the Firestore database, and I'm doing a very hacky thing right now. Shh, don't tell anyone. But what I want to do is I want to be able, for someone particular, to be able to add new quotations here, and then I can remove those, right? So I'm going to start a collection, or I could actually create a document and say this is the password that I would have. Or let me think if I can. Transigner, hey, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Give it up for Transigner. Welcome back. Made my day. Awesome, for sure, no problem. So let's say call them hacky passwords. Hacky password. And then we have a document ID. We would make it auto ID. And then we should have something like a password string, blah, blah, blah. So we have hacky passwords with a document, and then we have a password here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a very simple thing. So we could say something like blah. And what I want to do is I want to only be able to add a new saying if someone provides this password. So I'm going to make it really quick. So what we want to do is we're going to go to our saying component. We're going to get a collection reference. I believe we do it already. By the way, what do we do when we do particles in a console log engine? We don't really want it. I'm gonna keep this. Then what else was there? Particles loaded. We don't want this. Load full engine. I think we're good there. What I wanted to do was just get what just happened? Oh, I'm using a function that yeah, didn't want that. So what I want to do is just like we are getting the sayings, I do want to get the, but actually I don't need a function for that. So I can say something like const passwords equals hacky passwords. Happy to see you too, Transigner. And then what I want to do is just to get the first password. So I'm going to run this and say something like password to add quote equals null. And this is going to be actually either null or a string. Hello, what language are you using? Emmanuel, I'm using TypeScript, HTML, and CSS. So this password to add code is going to come from Firebase. So I'm first getting the hacky passwords collection, which is this one. And it's going to get me these number of documents. And I have only one document, so I'm just going to use that. So it gets all the passwords with the collection. I'm going to remove this. Then what I do is I say passwords.get, and then I do a pipe, and then I make sure this only runs once. So we are not creating a subscription. You know, React key Accord 17 is asking. Yeah, I have been working for React for the past, I would say 4 years, but actually 5 years. React and React Native both. .subscribe. And then we got passwords. And then we can say const legit password equal passwords 0. Or is it actually password.docs and 0.data. So we get the legit password and then we save it. So we say this dot passwords to add code equals to legit password. Now let me stop writing the code and actually show you. Legit password should be unknown. This actually should be, oh, that's a good question. So this collection would have a password property of type string, which means that I would get legit password.password. Or I could call this doc or password doc, and then password doc.password. And now let's actually debug this. Why use HTML instead of just React? I'm curious. I'm not using HTML, I'm using Angular. So this is Angular and TypeScript. What was your first programming language? Good question. I think when I was in my 9th standard, I went to an institute to learn C. That was essentially my first language, but I don't remember anything of that whole era. So I would say when I actually went into university, it was C sharp. I absolutely hated it. And then I think what got me interested into programming was JavaScript. All right, let's debug stuff. Come on. So app.component.ts. So this is what, oh no, it should be p saying.component.ts. So let's see. So we get the reference to the collection. We get the first item and then we assign it to this variable. That was our whole idea. We are fetching this hacky passwords collection. So we refresh. It comes to this endpoint. It's getting the reference to the passwords collection, and then it goes ahead, and then it should get the first password doc. So passwords is an Angular Firestore collection, which means it's the Firebase collection that we're trying to fetch. Then we get the instance or the snapshot of those passwords, which is essentially a query snapshots. Then we do password.docs. As you can see, we get only one document, and that is because we actually have one document here. So this is Firebase providing us document, and then we get the data, so we actually get the password doc. So as you can see here, we had password blah, and that password blah is right here. So now all I want to do is to assign it to password to encode. And what I would want to do is I would want to go ahead and in my component, when I've assigned to this, when we do add new saying, we right now open a modal just like this. But before adding or opening this, I would check if they have the password. So here I'm going to be very hacky, very minimalistic. So not to do a lot. I would just ask them the password. So I would say something like const or password equals confirm. And here we could say, yo, give me the password. And then here they would type, or this shouldn't be confirmed, this should be prompt. And then they would give a prompt password. And then we'll check if the password that they gave equals to this dot password to add code. Then we are good. But if it's not equal to that, then we return from this function alert, you shall not pass. And we could even add some emojis like angry. Does it show angry? Sad? No, that's sad. Do we have an angry emoji here? Yeah, there you go. And that's pretty much it. Otherwise, we open the modal. So let's try this. Can you, sir, suggest me what is the best alternate language for PHP? Hasnan Ajmal. Hasnan, there's nothing as best. It depends on what you want to get into. Some languages are good for one thing, some are good for another thing. So there's no best unless you can specify what you're looking for. So are you looking for performance? Are you looking for easy learning curve? Are you talking about documentation or what? A good question, Emmanuel. I'm actually a front-end architect, but I've been working with the back-end for about 5 years as well. I'm also a Google acknowledged expert in Angular, and you can see that I'm actually wearing a hoodie that says Angular. So I'm an Angular expert, and I'm also a Google acknowledged GDE or a Google developers expert. And in general, I'm a full stack engineer. So let's try the magic. So if I click this plus, first of all, you would notice that if I mouse over here, this cursor changes to pointer, right? But I'm very sneaky because on plus it doesn't do that, because I don't want everybody to know that you could click it. Only the person that I want to be able to add codes knows that. So if I go and click plus, it says ask, yo, give me the password. And then we say, blah, 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 and then you click OK. And inside it says, no shall not pass. Okay, nothing happens. No modal. But if I go ahead and say blah and hit OK, then it doesn't work as well. Let's see what's happening here. So add new saying should have a breakpoint. And now let's see what's happening. So here we get the prompt, we say blah, we click OK, the password becomes blah, the password to add code is also blah, and then it should not really go inside there and should show that. I don't know what happened the first time. Interesting. I'm gonna try this again. So we refresh, we go ahead and play, we type BLEH, blah, we hit OK, it works. So I think that's good. So we only need to provide the first the password, and then it should be good. And now let's add quickly the functionality of adding a new saying. So when we go to this this modal, what we need to do is we do have this close modal event emitter, and this could pass either null or a string depending on what we have in the input. So if this modal has an input, we pass that, otherwise we pass a string. Okay, so it could be string or null. By default, when we close this modal from the close button, from here it would pass null, but when we type submit or press submit, then it would pass the string. So in here you would notice that on the close button there should be a there should be a close modal.emit. So here I would be passing null by default. I could also have passed empty string, but I don't really want to do that. And then when we are submitting, we call the add new saying, all the magic happens, and then I should do a close modal emit. Now that's a bit interesting point, because we are not passing, or we shouldn't be passing this. Oh, okay. So I'm changing my decision. What I was thinking was, when you open the modal, you provide blah, and then you type something here, and then you hit submit, and then it passes back to the page, and the page adds the record to the Firebase document. But what I'm realizing is that we have this submit feature which shows a loader. Now this loader is in the modal, which means that this data that is supposed to be pushed to Firebase should rather be within the modal itself and not inside the the page. As a front-end developer, what kind of technologies, languages are you expected to know? You're expected to know HTML, JavaScript, and CSS at your core, because then you can learn any framework, any language, or any tool that comes with it. So at least HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. The easiest way, or I would say for me, with 10 years of experience, you could start with the basics, that how do you convert design into HTML, because then you are sort of a front-end engineer who is converting images or design to HTML. And if you are interested, you can definitely look into this course that I built. It's 100% free. It's essentially YouTube videos, but this is called Web Development Bootcamp. I'm gonna share this in the chat as well. And I also worked on this the site myself, the CodeWithAhsan.dev. It's built with Next.js, front end, back end, server side generated, statically generated pages, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go into the jargons, but what essentially it does is that it provides you with a platform where you can start learning with chapters out of a YouTube video, and then you can follow those chapters one by one, and you can mark them as completed if you want it. So you can always come back and continue from where you left off. So try this out. It was a 5 days bootcamp, but I've compressed this to about 5 hours. And it's really nice. What you end up doing is essentially this. You have a completely working web application. You can see that this is a button. It's also a lot of HTML here, and it's also mobile ready. If you convert this into a mobile, you would see this. And if you open this menu, you would see this as well. And all of this is actually based on this Figma design. So this is the design file and the assets from the design, and the project or the video essentially, or the course actually tells you how to convert this into what we just saw. You can see the resemblance, you can see how accurate of an implementation it is, right? From top to bottom, everything matches. So yeah, just follow that, and I think that would be a great start. But yes, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS for the win. Alrighty, so where were we? We were looking into this change, so I'm going to revert this back. It's not going to emit anything. What I want to do now is to be able to add this into the Firebase document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy some things from saying. What I want to copy is this. Go to add saying component and add it from here. Very good morning. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Singhania. How are you doing, Dr. Sub? Is there any responsive design libraries? You know, it's a pain making sites mobile friendly. Key Accord. I know Tailwind CSS, which uses or which has the CSS classes, but you could go with Bootstrap. We have Bootstrap, we have Material UI or MUI.com. So all of these should be pretty responsive. I don't really like the other libraries as much as I like Tailwind, because when you're learning Tailwind, the good part is that you end up learning CSS, because almost every Tailwind CSS class points to a CSS property, almost everything. With Bootstrap, you have to learn this whole new framework with the set of classes that do magic behind the scene, and you have no idea what classes or what CSS they use. With Tailwind, you actually know a lot of the CSS. So that's what I really like. Do you have any tutorials on server-side rendering and SEO for an app built with Angular? Not yet, but maybe soon in the future. Alrighty, so let's add the code to add document or add a new document to Firebase. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inject the Angular Firestore service in the constructor. Let's quickly import that. And now what I want to do is to have a reference to the collection itself. So what I'm going to do is inside here, we're going to get the collection reference. So we can say const sinks collection reference equals this dot firestore dot collection sayings, and this is the reference to the collections. And now what I want to do is I want to say sayings collection ref dot add, and now I want to just add a new code. Now if I go back to my Firebase, you will notice that each saying that we have just has a code property, and that's pretty much it, right? So what I'm going to do is just add a code property here, and then I would just add the new saying text to that. Now you will notice that this add essentially provides a promise. So what I would do is I would actually convert this function into an async function, and then I'd use await here. And then once it's done, I can mark these as done as well, right? So let's say we implement this now, and we now try to actually test this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the breakpoints on so we can see those. And I'm going to add a new saying from the add saying component. So close others, add saying component. I'm also going to go to the very bottom of my Firebase document so we can see the new component there or new code there. And now let's try. So I go here, I say bleh, I hit enter, and now I say I don't usually test my code, but when I do it in prod. Let's say we are talking about this saying, and if I hit submit, it goes here, stops propagation, prevents the default behavior, sets the call in progress true. Now this would essentially start showing the loading in that case. Then we get the collection ref, and then we are using the add method to add a new document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the loader, and then you will see the loader hiding. So let's go ahead, loader, and now you can see that it closes the modal. There we go. Now the interesting part would be if I go back to Firebase, go all the way bot, I think there should be a new document created, that would be here. Let's see if I can find it or if I need to refresh it. Oh, there you go. I don't usually test my code, but when I do it in prod. So there you go. You can see the new document created. And it's quite possible that if I refresh, I would probably find it somewhere here. So there you go. You see this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this string so I don't have to remember this every now and then. Let's quickly copy this. And also I'm going to delete this because my friend did not say this. So we don't really want this to be there. There was one thing that was in my mind and now I forgot about it. What was it actually? Yes. So what I want to do is when you add a new document to Firestore, I want to add it to the list that we have here and also make it active. So let's quickly do that. And for that, we need to export the close model emit. Now this is where it would come in. So in here, when we emit, we need to either have a string or null. In the HTML, we already said that we are going to emit with null, as far as I remember. So this should be close model. We are passing it null. That's good. Then if I go here, when we emit this, we can pass the saying. So new saying text, which means that from the model, it would go back to the page saying. And once it comes back here, then we already have the sayings array here and then we can use it, right? Easy peasy. So what I would do here is when we have this close model, we set this thing here, new saying model, blah, blah, blah. But what I would want to do is instead of this, I would want to call a function. So we can say something like on model close and we pass the event here. And then here I'm going to create this function. So I can say something like on model close. And this is a really bad naming convention because which model are we talking about? So we could say on new saying model close. So here we could say on new saying model close. We would get the new saying text, and that would be either a string or it would be a null value as we saw. And now I could say something like this dot show saying model should be false. We were already doing this, but if we got a new saying text, then what we want to do is we want to add this to the sayings list, push, and here we could say something like quote, and then we can say new saying. And then we also would have to set the current index to show this particular saying. So I could say something like when we are pushing to an array, we know that the latest item that we are pushing to this array is actually the final one. So I would go ahead and say this dot saying index equals this dot saying dot length -1. And that would actually set the recently added one on the UI. So we are going to test it out now. Let me also read the chat. Can I ask if there's anybody can guide me on a project I want to build, but there's some place I'm having difficulties and I don't know how to go about this. What I would recommend you, Emmanuel, is go to codewithahsan.dev/discord. This is a community that we have already there. We have, I don't know how many members now. It's probably too many. But what you could do is you could go to our channel and go to programming help. And then you can post questions there and then hopefully someone would be able to help you out there. So just go to codewithahsan.dev/discord. Shouldn't it be better to create a service to handle those call to Firestore and use observables? I don't think so because we just need to do them once. We don't have a huge application, so we don't really need to structure this as much because this is not going to scale. This is just a fun side project. I don't want to make it too complicated and I also want to go to sleep. So yes. What I personally don't like is that you have so much classes and template and it's not so readable for debugging. I don't know about that, to be honest. Are you talking about this one? Because we have about 100 lines of code. which is pretty debuggable, I think. And then we have add saying component, which is, 50 lines of code. It's also very debuggable. I'm not really sure if it's not, because I don't want to create a service to have just two functions, and I know that it's not going to scale. So we already have a service that we are using, which is Angular Firestore. So I don't want to create a service for my app that uses Firestore. I think it's over engineering. So yeah, I wouldn't probably go that route at this moment. So let's see. What is the password? Blah. Let's code it. There you go. You mean in the HTML? Oh, do you mean the HTML? I don't. I think it depends per se. For this page, since I only have one page and this is not reusable, I don't have them as components. So this is my perception of it. If you have something that is being reused, then you make a reusable component out of it, right? If you don't have something that is being reused, then it doesn't matter if you have inline styles on top of it, if you have classes that are too many on top of it. The HTML structure for me in that case doesn't really matter because I'm not going to change it most likely. But if it's a reusable component, then I have to be worried about, okay, or if I'm copy pasting a lot of code, then I would be worried and you would copy paste when you have the usage is more than one. So if I know that I'm not going to reuse anything, then it's fine for me to add all of those things. But if it's supposed to be reused, then yeah, I would be concerned in that case. One other way of using this is actually what you could do is you could create a style, for example. Let's say we have this abstract images, right? So I could go ahead and create a class, and inside that class, I could add all these styles. So I could say something like, hey, my image, and then I can use apply, and I can now add all the Tailwind classes here. So I could say something like width 4, and here I could say px 4, whatever that is, and then bg purple, for example, and this would still work. Now I can go ahead into my HTML and say, hey, just use my image, and it would then work with Tailwind classes. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I personally like more with just the HTML, not to kind of go around in the classes. I like to keep my CSS classes when I'm using Tailwind CSS, my CSS classes or CSS files only for custom styles. So I know that everything that I'm using in the HTML is purely Tailwind CSS, and I don't have to worry about it. The mess is subjective. If the team agrees to that and understands that, then it's good. But if not, then yes. So it really depends. There are a lot of teams that I know who are using Tailwind in enterprise applications. So yeah, it really depends on the teams, to be honest. Alrighty, so now let's try it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this and also put some breakpoints here. So let's say when we have this modal close, we get a breakpoint here. So I submit, it goes ahead, does all the magic, adds the new saying, and then now it's passing the new saying from this emit. If I go forward, I get this new saying here in my saying components, which is the page, and the modal has now been closed. So we got this. Now we go ahead and hide the modal in this case. So we hide the modal. Then the new text is existing. So it's going to push it into the sayings. Right now we had 15 elements. So it's going to go ahead and push this new saying object just like this. And now we got 16. And as I mentioned before, I want to show this new code on the view. So the person who's adding it knows that, okay, I've added this and now I can see it. So in this case, what you would see is that we have this sayings list, which is 16 elements. And that means I know that this the last item is at the index 15, which is 1 minus, or yeah, just subtracting 1 from the length. So that's what I'm doing. I'm saying sayings.length 16 minus 1, setting to saying index. And then when I do poof, you can see that my active one is there. Yay! Awesome. So I can now go ahead and actually remove the one that I just added. I love small talk. Don't usually test my code, but when I do it for prod. There you go. So I'm going to delete this document, and I believe we are good. We're feature ready. It is mobile friendly. I can refresh and see how good it looks. There you go. and then you can add. Alrighty, sounds good. I think we're good. Shall not pass. Good. Refresh, and then keep moving forward. Awesome, awesome. I think now the only thing that I need to see is what is the bundle size that we are getting out of this library. So we are sure that this is performant. So let's quickly create a build. So we can run ng build now. And also see the changes, so we can commit this. Package log. So we added ng particles, ts particles, blah, blah, blah. So we add this guy. We add this guy, yarn.log. Index HTML, we added or we updated this. Also, I think we can also add a few topics there. So we can say HTML meta tags for SEO. And I do want to add all those. So we got the description. Which is we are missing right now. So we do have the other things, but we don't have a description. So we could say something like Josephine says, cite as a gift from Ahsan that contains a famous quotes by Josephine. Or actually, let's move it to fun. So now we have this. If I add, let's actually see if I can find, or actually let's not put the entire name. We're good. Now that we have this, the only thing that I would do is the meta tags for Facebook. So we can say HTML meta tags for Twitter, for example. And then this is what we have. Isn't it the same one? Yes, it is. Do we have any HTML? No, we only have the attribute names. Let's see. HTML meta SEO tags generator. Hi from Turkey. Hey, how's it going, man? Are you good? Site title. Josephine says. Site description. We already had that. So add this here. Josephine says CodeWithAhsan. Can I ask something? Absolutely. Allow robots to index your website, please. All links, yes. UTF English. I don't think so. Generate meta tags. I think it generates this one, but it doesn't generate the ones with Facebook and whatnot. But then I have those. I don't need those. Facebook meta tags. So we have metatags.io. Does it preview it? Preview, edit, and generate. Okay. Then let's say Josephine says.com. So here it is. We add an image. So we add the image from our assets. Can you reveal in Explorer view? What do you think about WordPress and Elementor? I like Elementor. I don't really like WordPress as much, although I think I believe it's good, but I don't really prefer it, to be honest. But it's just my it's just my understanding. So there you go. The title should be Josephine says, and the description would be this. curated by, and I don't recall the person who actually did write all the codes. So let me quickly find it. What was the name of the person? Celine. So curated by. Oops. Right. I think this should be good. So generate the meta tags. Love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. So we copy all of this. We go to our page. We go to our index.html. We remove the description and then we just add it. So now we have Twitter, title. I'm gonna remove title as well here. Then we got description, content, how the image, how did it get the image? Summary large image. Oh, but the URL should be here in that case, right? So yes, copy the code into your website. Be sure to upload your image to your CMS host. Yes, of course. So in this case, the image itself should be https josephine.com/adsets/image/ was it images/josephine.png, and I think that's pretty much it, right? So this is one. Then we got this guy. We update that. And I think that's pretty much it. So we got Facebook, Twitter, all the meta tags that we really wanted. I made for a streamer. Interesting. You made a WordPress site or Elementor site for a streamer, I assume. That's good. It's super cool. All right, let's see if I can fix this indentation. I don't really like it. Nadeem, hello Nadeem. How are you? app.module.ts added. Oh, so we have we do have some problem in the main TS. On the main JS we do have some additional kilobytes, so we may get rid of the confetti if it becomes too much. If it becomes too much, to be honest. Add saying component. I'm going to remove the code that I don't use. So all of this guy gets out. Add this confetti config. This stays there. Saying component stays there. Removing additional line from here. Saying component has some of the things that I'm not using, like these. Container. I think we're good here as well. Then we have these files. I think all of these can be added. I think we're good. So what I want to do is I want to commit this. Git commit feed add code, and then we say add new code as the feature, and then we have added confetti for swag party. Oops, it doesn't render that. And then we have added meta tags. I wrote something before, but IG YouTube deleted. How do you think if it's good or bad? I don't understand the question, light. Do you mean, oh, for WordPress? I don't like it. I don't know. I don't. I would say it's bad, but yeah, I don't know. For me, WordPress is something that is not very customizable. It's tough. It doesn't get the job done. I rather prefer HTML, CSS, to be honest. But yeah, I think for some particular use cases, it would be still nice. Yeah, I don't think sharing the links is allowed on the chat. So I'm gonna push this, and then I can say Firebase deploy, and let's see if we can see this being deployed. Da-da-da, da-da-da. I'm gonna quickly go and grab some water in the meantime while this happens. So be right back. Also, actually, since I deployed this, I do want to go to Firebase before someone really starts changing those. So let me quickly go there and open this, and we say, so we update that. So only I know what's the password. There we go. And now I think we're good. So our site is actually uploaded to josephinesays.com, I believe, with the confetti. Drink. There we go. Yeah, I'm going. I'm going. So you see the confetti is there on josephine.com. So be good, man. I'm gonna come back. Be right back. Hello, hello. What has happened while I was away? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Why would you spend hours of coding and making a simple website? Are you talking about this website, or are you talking about something against WordPress? Why spending hours update WordPress unknown plugin for the rest of your life? AK Michael, hello, how's it going? Netup Shipabib. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it Russian? Is it Hebrew? What language is that? Hello. All right, I think our app is live. Our app works. I love it. We have the cool swag. We have the fab icon. The only thing that's remaining is checking uh, the Twitter and Facebook card. So if I go to my Facebook page and try sharing this, for example, here, it doesn't really show the picture. That's interesting. Uh, it doesn't, right? So what has happened there? So let's see if I can find it. Facebook share debugger. So we go there. Would you have to go there? Okay. And then I go there, debug it. The OG image property should be explicitly provided. Have we not provided it? We did provide it, right? I believe we did. Where's the HTML? Where's my HTML? Where's my HTML? Where's the HTML? Source, HTML. The OG image is there. Why would you say it's not there actually? And this image should actually exist. So yeah, this image exists. Scrape again, please. It doesn't. Why? Don't you... Ah, that's interesting. Let's see. Let's see the source of this page. So view page source. It doesn't have my pages. Why doesn't it have my pages? Although it runs everything there. Have we added it to the wrong one? Or have we deployed the earlier version of the app? All right, let's do this. So npm run build and, or we could run simply ng deploy, and I think that would also work. Then resume the past, make website with front page or flash. Website will live forever and it's way more creative. I don't think so. WordPress sites are not really performant, if you know. They're SEO friendly, yes, but are they performant? Not really. If WordPress was the right way to go, then big apps like Facebook, WhatsApp, Web, and other giants would be using that. So it's not really performant per se. And you cannot customize it a lot. You can only customize it to some extent. And that's really limiting. So I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's good for certain use cases, but it's not like, hey, WordPress is the best or WordPress is the way to go. Similarly, I wouldn't say that no WordPress is the best way. It could also be that WordPress in some cases is good. So yeah, you never know. So now if I refresh it, you can see now I get my changes. So for some reason, our deployment was flawed. So if I refresh this, I still see everything working. And if I scrape this again, I should actually get the latest one. Boom, there we go. We see the image, we see the title and everything. That's good. So if I now go to my page, facebook.com, and if I go ahead here, and then if I share the link to this site, change preview, it still doesn't scrape it. Let's see if I can, if it's going to be the same. I think it should be the same for every route. But now I see this, right? But let's refresh this and try this once again. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the entire route to the word saying. And if I paste it here, it doesn't do it. Okay, so to the saying one, it doesn't do it. And is that because it has not scraped it? Yeah, it scraped it 4 minutes ago, so it doesn't have them. But if I scraped again, it should have it then. Facebook debugger, why you do this? All right, so it has it. So that means if I refresh now and even use the saying link, it should still be good. There you go, right? And this should, I believe this would also work on LinkedIn. And it should also work on the Twitter as well. Yeah, twitter.com. And we go ahead and we add that. But it doesn't show me right away. Oh, it shows. There you go. Alrighty, I think we're good with all of this magic that we do. What is this tweet? Of course, Angular is well represented. All things open. Fun times with Sarah. Yes. Alrighty, then I think we can wrap this up. We have the app working. It is deployed to the domain and it works flawlessly. I'm gonna also open this in my in my phone so I can double check this. So yosephinesays.com. All right, so this is how it looks in the in mobile. How, look at that. Would it show it? I don't know why it's flickering, but it should not be doing that. Yay, there you go. And then you go ahead and tap the modal. It says, hey, give me the password. So you give the password, something wrong, and then it says, you shall not pass. Okay. And then you can do it. And then obviously you can move ahead with the sliders. Cool. I think this is really good. Today has been an interesting day. We have implemented something with Angular. I'm happy about it. And you can also learn from what we did with Angular Fire and whatnot. So having said that, I think I'm going to end this stream here. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to see you very soon. Tomorrow, or actually now it's 12:30 a.m. So the next day has started. So today is going to be my last day at my current company, and I'm joining a new company. For some of those who don't know, I'm going to be a lead instructor of JavaScript / software architect. But that also means that there's going to be a lot of good content coming in on our channel as well, because there are very nice opportunities ahead. So if you have not pressed the subscribe button yet, please do hit the like button. So this helps the channel grow and we grow together as well. And as always, happy coding, and I'm going to see you in the next stream or the next video. Bye.